at a cost because you are always sacrificing functionality and or usability. And functionality is loosely defined as the features within the whatever it is you're trying to secure, or the amount of it's roughly translates to all the ways you can use it or move within it. Usability is just general ease of use. How easy is it? Like, say, I want to open my phone. Right now, I have to unlock it using a PIN. An example of reducing usability for security would be setting a password instead of a PIN. Go ahead and hit next. Oh, I know, literally just explained that. I'm getting ahead of myself. Yeah. So, for example, the features that something has, for example, in this digital sense, would be Wi-Fi or Bluetooth connectivity, the actual things you're using. It enables it to more fluidly move through the world. That's just a more, like unlocking your phone and opening Instagram would be usability. The more steps you add to get to Instagram, the less usable it is. And so let's go ahead and hit next. This is the security triangle. So you notice functionality, usability, and security are all in different areas. You can only move this dot in any one direction. You're always sacrificing something. There's no free security, there's no free functionality, and there's no free usability. It always comes at a cost. Does everyone get this? Cool. Next. Threat modeling. Threat modeling is basically the process of identifying threats and the most probable threats to your security/safety. This is copy paste because a thunderstorm took out the original PowerPoint. And the steps that you're willing to take to mitigate said threats, like say. I'm not going to get too in deep because we got next slide. All right, creating your threat model. If you got something to write down, it would be helpful, or you can do it in your head, probably be more secure in your head. What do you want to protect? Make a list of your assets, data that you keep, where it is kept, and what do you do to prevent other people from accessing it. Who do I want to protect it from? Make a list of your adversaries. And adversaries are just people who would otherwise want to get access to the data. Like, say, it can be anyone, really. It can be your boss. It can be any individual. It can be the government. Or corporations. They're always trying to get your info. They usually have your legal consent for that, though, for whatever that means. And how likely it is that you will need to protect it. Down which threats we're going to take seriously and what may be rare or just edge case scenarios. Those typically, you don't have to give too much credence to, because if you are weighing too heavily for the rare risks, you're going to drastically increase your general security, reducing your usability, and for what? You're not protecting yourself against anything new, you're just making it harder for yourself. How bad are the consequences if I fail? This is a big one. What would happen? Basically, if your credit card info got stolen, or if your advertising data got stolen. This answer is going to be different for everyone, because as a few of you know, as some of us, I'm pretty sure, are aware that government agencies are buying advertising data. And in that advertising data is where you work, where you generally like to shop, and whatever else information that they've managed to gather on you. And so it's any information is an asset. And it's just a matter of how much that asset means to you in the specific context you're in. How much trouble are you willing to go just to prevent said information, to try to prevent potential consequences? Like, Are you willing to lock down your phone to a crazy degree? Are you willing to pay only in cash ever, so you aren't being tracked with your credit card info or something? Stuff like that. Write down any options that would be reasonable for you to do in that context. This will all be in a document that I will make public after this, and this is being posted somewhere. Yeah?
Yeah.
Cool. And I'll have that document linked in here. That way you can copy paste all this, or just look at it for your own reference, or you can take a photo, whatever you like. Are we good? Cool, cool. Excited. Getting technical now for the technical stuff. I'm moving through these a bit quick, because I did have to really quickly remake this whole thing. Yeah, this is going to be covered computers, surfing the web, and all that entails, encryption, fake computers, and onions? Question mark? Next slide. Surfing the web. Oh yeah, this is another table of contents type thing. Go ahead, hit next. All right, this is how you're usually tracked on the web. For cookies, cookies are a bit of downloaded data that your browser uses to, like, say, remember it's been to a website before. It can range from remembering your login info to a website tracking you between websites. Facebook does this a lot, for example. It's why whenever you're on a site, for anything really, that has any kind of product, and then you scroll Facebook right after, you notice ads for that product. That's why. Trackers, similar to cookies, only they aren't downloaded to your computer, they are embedded within the websites themselves. This is things like advertisements and media, and videos you're watching, links you're sharing. Like, say, for example, when you share a link on Instagram, you notice it has the link. Something right in the middle of that link is a question mark. After that question mark is the tracking data. And have you noticed sometimes when someone you don't follow on Instagram sends you a post somewhere else, and it's asking, hey, do you want to follow this person? That's what that tracking data does. And a slew of other stuff. That's how, they find you, really. That's how they keep track of you in the great wide world of social media. Window resolution. This is a little less well known, but the persistent size of the window of the displayed web page. Like, say, if your web page is like maxed out between pages, that creates what's called a fingerprint. And that can be used to track you through other means. Like, say, if you are blocking cookies and trackers and using a VPN, this can still be used to track you. But again, this is relatively fringe, but depending on what you're doing, may be useful. Go ahead, hit next. Browsers to avoid. These are all Chrome-based browsers. You want to avoid Chrome, mostly because it's a big spyware machine. It blocks the uses of ad blockers. It pings Google a shitload, and a slew of other stuff that I'm not remembering at the moment. It submits them a lot of tracking data, a lot of telemetry, and that is the same for Brave, Validate, Opera, and Opera GX. Most of the browsers you'll see ads for these days are Chrome-based. That includes like Microsoft Edge. I forgot to put that in here, but that's like the one that comes pre-installed on your computer. That's also Chrome. Watch out. Unfortunately, though, Chrome runs everything, and sometimes you'll just have to open it up to go to a specific website. There are ways to get around that, but it's a specific case-by-case basis. Next. Recommended web browsers. I recommend, because right now, unfortunately, we're in a kind of two-party system when it comes to web browsers, if that makes sense.
Just that.
One side is Chrome, evil and dastardly, and the other side is Firefox, our good and lived up team. Firefox, it's all right. It's the standard for, I guess, the quality that we have for web browsing right now. You can get ad blockers, decent amount of privacy settings built in, and you can, by default, Firefox does send a bunch of telemetry data. You can turn it off, it's just on by default. And then we have Waterfox, which is basically Firefox, but water, if you notice right there. It's like Firefox, just with some of the telemetry stuff stripped out. It's like a stock plus. It's Firefox with some more features here and there. If you don't want to tweak with it too much, decent choice. LibreWolf. LibreWolf is great. LibreWolf is awesome. I use LibreWolf. But one of the big asterisks is that it kind of requires you to know what you're doing. If you're okay messing with settings and occasionally tweaking the settings to get something to work, highly recommend it. It really gets you, what really lets you get nitty gritty with it. Very good browser. And all of these, they all can use the same extensions. They all use the same web store. Anything that works with Firefox will work for this, and this. Florp is interesting. It's kind of like Firefox, but it's just more customizable. If you're a customization freak, Florp's good. Has a decent amount of privacy options. It's more just I think the main distinction between this and this is that this is a full open source version of Firefox, and same with this. This is more based on Firefox. There's another browser that we're going to be talking about later, but it is based on Firefox, but we're not going to be talking about yet. So, go ahead next. Encryption. So before we can cover the next stuff, we're going to talk about encryption. Encryption is the act of obfuscating, aka making information unknown, making it garbled, if you will. It's the act of obfuscating data in a way that can be later decoded by an authorized party, usually with a password. Many types of encryption, many types. You'll see a lot of acronyms thrown around when people are talking about it. But main types we will be talking about is end-to-end encryption, or E2EE. You'll see that typed out a lot. People will just call it end-to-end. It is most relevant to private communications apps like Signal, Telegram, WhatsApp, allegedly. I wouldn't use WhatsApp if you can avoid it. Not for private communications, use it as a texting app or whatever, but like, that is reading all that. But then that also goes back to what I was saying earlier with the threat modeling stuff. So it really comes down to your use case. Go ahead next. End-to-end encryption. This is kind of key to understanding why secure messaging apps are secure. So it relies on a concept called public key cryptography. Public key cryptography is when you have two keys, a public key and a private key. The public key is used to encrypt data. Anyone can have access to this public key. For example, like say when you add someone on Signal, and you request to message them, when you send the message is, when you see the profile pop up and whatnot, you're getting their public key, right? Say this person, say Alice is trying to say, Bob, stop trying to make fetch happen. Uses Bob's public key, encrypts it. That's a bunch of garbled text. It's sent over to Bob. Bob just sees a bunch of garbled text. So what Bob does is he uses private key to encrypt it. And that is the only thing to encrypt this to this. Yeah. And that is you'll often hear plain text referred to a lot in regards to this stuff, and plain text just refers to text you can just read. It's non-encrypted text. Ciphertext is just the inverse of that. And yeah, that's roughly how all messaging apps work these days. When they talk about end-to-end encryption, this is what they mean. It means that anything in transit, any server that your messages go through, they can't read them. Like say if Signal servers get compromised, they can't read any of the messages that get sent, hypothetically. Unless they had access to all of everyone's public keys, they would just have a bunch of garbled bullshit right here. Okay, I think that about covers that. Virtual private networks, you may have heard of these. Anyways, this ad is sponsored by VPN. One thing to remember with VPNs, or explain how they work first. VPN is basically you're connecting to someone else's network. It's just a separate network that was made available to the outside world. And you're using a thing called tunneling to get into that network. It's most often used in enterprise or corporate environments. If you've ever done remote work for a corporation, that's what you've used to get access to company resources. Like say if your IT person's ever bugged you about like, you need to get in a shared drive, this or that. That's what he's talking about. Or they, or she, I don't know. IT's a diverse world these days. Where was it? Sorry. Right. They are not, however, as advertised, a magic bullet. VPNs that are encrypted, yes, but they do not keep you from being tracked, like all the ads on YouTube say. They're not a end-all be-all to security. If you're trying to do nasty shit on the internet, this isn't this isn't me condoning you doing nasty shit on the internet. But if you are, a VPN will not save you. You are still being tracked, because if you're still opening your regular browser, you're still being tracked with those cookies, still getting tracked with those trackers, your window size, and your IP address. Because your IP address, when you're using a VPN, stays the same. They just know you're using a VPN now. And they can subpoena that VPN, for example. And again, this comes down to everyone's use case. How everyone's use case is going to be sketchy shit. Some people just want to pirate stuff. And those YouTube VPNs that they advertise, they're great for that. That's what most people just use them for. But if you are if you are worried about being tracked over the internet for whatever reason by, like, say, a government entity or corporate whatever, they must be used in conjunction with other tools. They are simply one layer of obfuscation. It is one chunk of armor. It's like running into a big medieval battlefield with just boots on it. Nothing else. Keep your feet from getting cut up, that's about it. Anyways, next. Recommended VPNs. Proton VPN, it's good. If you've got Windows, it allows you to port forward, which is good for torrenting, aka pirating. AirVPN is good, and iVPN are good, because they have a very proven track record of maintaining privacy. Both of these are based in Sweden. I forget where this is based. Speaking of Sweden, do not use Molvad VPN. Do not use Molvad or any of their products. They are a BDS target. Their main guy donates pretty heavily to the Swedish Nazi Party.
Gross.
So do not use Molvad. Anyways, next. Tor, the onion router. This is what I was talking about, onions. Tor is a router based on Firefox. It is a very specific tool. I do not recommend it for daily use. You can use it, it would be a pain in the ass. Like I was saying, you're balancing security and usability. If you're really concerned about it, I guess, yeah, no, you got no choice. The Tor is useful because of the way it obfuscates your traffic. Because what it does is it uses a thing called onion routing. Basically, I think I explained the next one, but I'm not sure I didn't miss anything here. Yes, onion routing, it works by encrypting your traffic, sending it to a node, as they call it, which is just a server running the special Tor software. Sends it to that node, and that node encrypts it. Then that node sends it to a different node that encrypts it. Then that node sends it to yet another node that encrypts it. And then that node sends it to the destination. Then it gets decrypted. And so let's say it's useful to avoid being tracked because it's like, notice how these are layered? It's like peeling away an onion, trying to find you. It's not to say it can't be done. The feds catch people on Tor all the time. It is, again, one layer of security, or a few layers, I should say, because it's an onion. They have many layers. Yeah. Another thing with Tor is that it lets you access things called hidden sites, or it's more colloquially called the dark web, or the deep web, if you will. Do not go to them. Do not. Do not. Do not. There is unspeakable shit that nothing will ever be able to get rid of. You will not be able to wash your eyes and brain from that shit. It is incredibly highly illegal shit, not in a fun way. It is, yeah. And that aside, you can also get some really, really, really fucked up viruses by browsing by just clicking on the wrong thing. And so, brings me to the next part. Yeah, I was just talking about that. Next. I suppose before we do that, we should talk about operating systems. Hold the thought on Tor for a minute and all the different layers of obfuscation. We're going to talk about operating systems. So, common examples of operating systems. Everyone knows Windows. Most of you know Mac, Android, iOS, and this Penguin dude. This Penguin dude is Linux. The whole Linux subfamily of operating systems, or rather Linux is a kernel. That's what operating systems are based off of. For example, Android is Linux, technically. I put Linux on here twice, I fooled y'all. Anyways, go ahead and next. Windows. Windows, I do not recommend. It is the most common operating system in the world. It's probably what you're familiar with. But as y'all have probably noticed, it's not as good as it used to be. Most updates these days are written by AI, and they aren't thoroughly tested. Starting with Windows 10, they started doing a Windows Insider program to test their updates instead of actually hiring QA staff. And so if you've noticed Windows just getting more and more and more and more dog shit over the years, it's because all the old human-made code is getting replaced with AI. And so it leads to a buggy and unstable and insecure experience. I do not recommend it because it's also loaded with ads and spyware by default. You can't remove it. It just comes back after every feature update, and so you're always playing that game of let's scrub Windows clean for the 100th time this year. Oh, excuse me. All right, Linux, or rather the Linux family, I should say. It is the most widely used family of operating systems in the world. It is completely open source. Anyone can modify, and anyone can look at, modify, and publish their own version of Linux. As a result, there are as many versions of Linux as there are leftist splinter groups. Because also of that, there are many different ways to use Linux, many different ways to interface with Linux. A lot of different Linux distros, or distributions as we call them, are, they don't even have, you can't even use a mouse to navigate them. They're entirely, you're just using your keyboard. Welcome. But the biggest names when you're using Linux are going to be Plasma and GNOME, because these are the two desktop environments that you're going to be using the most. Plasma is a lot more like Windows. GNOME's marginally more towards Mac. It's doing its own thing these days. So not a perfect analogy, but these are the desktop environments and are largely, you can put them on any version of Linux these days. So let's go ahead here next. These are the ones that I recommend. Debian is it just works. Same with Ubuntu and Linux Mint. Thing is with these though, I put Debian on here 3 times because this is based on Debian and this is based on Ubuntu. There are versions of this based on that, but generally, I would just recommend pick one of these 3, whatever interface looks nicest to you, if you're Linux curious. But generally, just works. Interface is nice. This one, especially, if you're coming from Windows, is very good because the default interface is, I don't want to say one-to-one, pretty close to Windows. And then we go over to Fedora. Fedora's a bit weird. I love Fedora. I put it over here because it is not based on any of these. It is its own thing. It's based off of Red Hat Linux, which is mostly used in enterprise stuff. But it does mean that it is more up to date than these, because that's the thing I didn't tell y'all. These are really stable. These just work, but they're out of date. Because the developers are prioritizing stability over, they're prioritizing general usability, ease of use, over features, security, like I was saying earlier. Fedora is a nicer blend of that, in my opinion. It is more technical just because it is not the default, but if you've already talked around Linux at all, I highly recommend it. Anyways, next. The Linux notes, don't be afraid of the terminal. You've probably heard the myth of Linux users, they're all programmers, you have to type a billion things to do one basic operation that maybe 15 years ago, if that, but like, not these days. I have been a daily Linux user for like 5 years at this point, and I have never had built-in terminal. It makes things quicker. Same with Windows, by the way. You can get things done a lot quicker with terminal on Windows, and that's just true with anything with the command line. Because you're typing faster than you're navigating GUI, or graphical user interface as they call it. Windows programs can be run on Linux, if that is a barrier. They use a thing called Wine. It's very good. Lets you run things like Photoshop, FL Studio, all the fun stuff. And by extension, gaming's good. It's covered by Linux because Steam is what most people would use to game on the computer. It has Wine and Proton built in, which Proton is just a fancier version of Wine. And I would avoid Arch-based distributions. These are probably more talked about distributions because they're the fanciest. They're the most prevalent at the moment, just because Arch is popular, and that's what Steam, Steam Deck is based off of. But otherwise, I would avoid Arch just because it's a lot of, you're configuring it yourself, and if you don't know what you're doing, it gives you enough right to hang yourself. So, Linux just kind of by default assumes you know what you're doing. Like, okay, you want to do this? Sure. And you broke your computer. Cool. Next. Virtual machines. Bring that thought about using Tor in about stacking obfuscation methods. Virtual machines. Now let's talk about operating systems. Virtual machines are when you are running a separate operating system within your current or your host operating system, if you will. The program is called VirtualBox. What is it? Used to add in that. Some other Oracle product. VMware. And what other virtual? It's just virtualization. Windows is a built-in thing called Hyper-V. They're great for experimenting with operating systems without installing it. on your main computer. They do eat up a chunk of your resources because you are, again, running a whole separate computer within your computer. It's a fake computer, if you will. But this can also be used in conjunction with a VPN and Tor. If you want to maintain maximum absolute privacy, the hypothetical way would be to, let's say, you need to browse the web and have it absolutely not traced back to you. You burn a thing of Linux onto a USB stick, like TailsOS, for example. It's a common bootable thing. I think it has all the keys. Yeah, that's a USB stick. You boot it, and it has Tor built in. You open up Tor. First, before you do that, you connect to your VPN of choice, whether it be Proton, whatever. Then you open up Tor. It's going to load really slow, but your traffic will be very obfuscated, and nothing in Tor should touch your physical computer. So if you do need to browse hidden sites, that's how you do it. And I think that's it. I think that's the last slide. Aside from questions? Yes. Ran through that kind of quick. How are we on time?
We have like 12 minutes to 7, so
All right.
plenty of time.
Oh yeah, shit, right on time.
Perfect.
Hell yeah. I'm gonna take a drink of water. Anyone got any questions? It doesn't have to be directly related to what we just talked about, just general tech. I am trying to be a resource here.
So your analogy earlier of running into the battlefield with just boots, what would be the hypothetical full armor set?
Hypothetical full armor set for digital security would be, first off, using a computer that's not yours and not on a network that you've used. Like, say, library computer in a district that you've never been to. Or just a burner laptop, because you can't boot a different thing onto a different thing. So I'm thinking on the fly at the moment. So it would be burner computer, something you just don't use, something that isn't really associated with you, in the grand scheme of things. You boot up TailsOS, or there's some other one that basically does the same thing, Unix, I'm pretty sure. HWONIX is how it's called. And you connect to your VPN. Yeah, you boot it off of USB, because that way it's running just off of RAM and it's not really having access to any main things in the computer. Yeah, you do that, connect to the VPN, connect to Tor, and then you are hypothetically, assuming the network's all good. I mean, the network, even if the network's bad, it should be good, because everything should be encrypted however many times you have Tor set up to do that. Just know when you set up Tor, the more times you set it to hop, your AKA go between each node and have it encrypted another time, you're adding more and more and more and more data to each packet, as they call it. A packet is just an individual bit of, not talking into mic enough, an individual bit of data. A bit of data is measurement. Yeah, it's just this. It's literally a packet of data being sent over the network. Over Tor, it's encrypted. Over the VPN, it would be encrypted again. Because the big thing with that is the onion can be unpeeled. They can always be unpeeled. It's just a matter of does someone want to devote time to unpeeling that onion? Is it worth their time? So that's the thing. Any security can be broken with enough time, with enough patience. No lock is impeccable. And so the biggest trick is to not look suspicious. But that is a whole other matter entirely. But yeah, no, it's a computer that you don't usually use, VPN, Tor, on a network that you don't usually use. Yes?
So you have to download the browser?
Yes, Tor. It's just called Tor. Just Onion is the protocol it uses. It's called onion routing. Tor is an acronym for the onion router. There are other onion browsers. It's just Tor is the most common. You could hypothetically set up your own onion routing situation. It's just Tor has it in the most conveniently available package. Tor is also open source, and so most of the things I've talked about in regards to privacy tools and whatnot are open source, and so if you are savvy, you can look at the code and verify that nothing is being sent. But that also assumes that you have the programming chops to be able to decipher it. But yeah, yes.
Is it possible to get, let's say, Mac OS on a Windows-built computer? Or any other kind of thing like that?
Yes. It's a process.
Sure.
Yes, that's an entirely different can of worms called Hackintosh.
Okay.
That is, because if you're trying to get Mac running on a Windows computer, because Apple locks down their stuff kind of severely,
For sure.
and you would need a heavily modified version of Mac OS, and you would have to, I'm pretty sure, build it for your specific hardware, which is a whole can of worms. I've tried doing it a few times, and it's never gone well. But I've never had much of an interest in Mac, just because it's I've not really had any use cases that needed it. I haven't done much video editing or photo editing and the like, and so I just haven't run into it. But yeah, no, it'd be a pain in the ass. It is possible though. Yes.
What do you recommend for like cloud storage, Office Suite, files, and photo share?
I've had good luck with Proton. They offer a full suite of stuff. I shared this document over Proton Drive, for example.
Mm-hmm.
They also have a somewhat full open suite of like Proton Docs and whatnot. Not as comprehensive as Google, but if you want an open source version of that isn't Microsoft, I do recommend LibreOffice. It's just the word LibreOffice.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's a basically almost one-to-one recreation of the Microsoft Office suite with all the features that you would want, with features to make it imitate the Microsoft Office suite interface even, which is nice because the interface is kind of nice. But yeah.
Are there security risks that you would like for alternatives to Proton, like Google Drive to Microsoft Office to something like Dropbox?
It all comes down to your use case. Like say if you are say you are doing some nasty illegal shit, like violating people's constitutional rights, for example, or something. I don't know. Something that's appropriate for being live streamed. Whatever you can think of. I wouldn't host it on Google Drive or Microsoft Office. I wouldn't even host it on a cloud shared thing, to be fully honest. Because that's not a thing you control. But that also, again, comes down to what I was saying earlier about threat modeling. Yeah, they can access your data, but will they?
Yeah.
They could look through that, but will they? Now, the answer is getting more complicated with AI and auto scanning and whatnot, but if it's for stuff that you would post about on social media, I wouldn't care.
Yeah.
If it's stuff where you're like taking phones out of the room, no, it doesn't even touch the internet.
Yeah. And if you're violating constitutional rights, but you're like doing it on a defense contract, then they'll probably just build your own.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah, they'll give
Thing
you
for
something
that,
to
yeah.
work
Oh,
with.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Say I hypothetically wanted to read a bunch of really expensive common theory books for free and download them, but the Tor sites I was using were getting shut down. What should I think about
Torrent sites.
the Tor sites?
or sites?
for downloading books.
What books are you downloading?
Is there
Cursed books.
Curse.
Cursed commie theory books.
Cursed commie theory, okay.
Yes.
Commie theory that is so illegal it's uncomfortable. Might get to that point, honestly. We'll never know. It really depends on what services are available, honestly.
The books aren't illegal, they're just.
Yeah,
they're
if
just
you're,
free.
I would look at
Books will have to,
LibGen.
like transplant
Yeah.
Epstein's brain into the
Hey,
I'm probably good about shut down.
They got a lot of mirrors. There's a lot of mirrors. Internet Archive's a good resource just for books in general.
Mhm.
Yes.
Fan thought is another good one.
And thought.
Yeah, like PANFED thought.
Fan thought.
And then whatever book you're looking for, just straight up Googling that, followed by PDF.
You can do a file type PDF.
Yeah.
Probably.
Amazon Archive is also good.
File set searching. November 8th Publishing House, Foreign Languages Press, and nk.kca. The North Korean website if you want to read the news, the Beacon thing.
There's also, I mean, what you can do, especially if you're looking for things like theory books, is go to Marxist.org and just print the webpage to a PDF. That's going to be the easiest bet.
That's what-
Or just use your local library; they might have it.
Marxist.org for theory.
Bangers. Always bangers on there. It's going to have the basics and the really like the fundamentals that you're going to be looking for. Also,
Not as
Espresso
much
Stalinist
current
shout out.
Espresso.
Espresso Stalinist shout out.
Okay. We got anything else?
Yes.
Yes.
This one's more silly, but it doesn't need a hypothetical. I'd like to get a lot of my like, personal info off of like those weird like Should Finder type websites. Yeah.
There are allegedly services for that. I wouldn't trust them too much.
You probably.
That's the thing. When it comes to stuff like this, it's mostly about controlling what information gets out. Because once information's out, there's no getting it back in, like Pandora's box. Unless in rare circumstances, like, because the internet, as we're learning, is an incredibly temporary, everything started on is incredibly temporary. It's just, everything you don't want saved gets spread around, unfortunately. I haven't delved too much into it just because I do not trust data deletion services. Because if it was that easy, I don't think it would be legal. Yeah. Yeah. I have.
Earlier when you said that depending on the size of the screen, they can track you off of that.
Yes.
Is there like a certain size to where they don't track you, or is
No.
it?
No, it's just information. It's just the size of the web screen that is loaded, basically.
I will say if you want to deal with that, you can download a user agent spoofer. It's a plugin for your browser, and you can set it to a dimension yourself and say, oh, I'm on Windows even though you're on Mac, and further obfuscate your signature.
Yes, user agent spoofing is also good for if you're using Firefox and a page just won't load for some reason. You don't want to open Chrome. You can fake being on Windows and Chrome, which is what I usually do, and then the web page will load. It's just some web pages can tell you're doing that, but that's not entirely related to the whole campus size type fingerprinting. It is a step we can do. It's all about steps and layers here. There are extensions you can get to, like Tor, for example, has an extension built in where it automatically changes the rendered web page size every time you click onto a different thing. Because there's a lot more incentive to track people on Tor than there is on ClearNet. And so that is just built in. Yes.
Okay, so what would you say I would need like a starter pack of like to my laptop so I don't get trapped? Like what are the steps in what
Okay. I would get virtualization software. If your laptop supports it. It should. Virtualization software like VirtualBox, VPN, not Molvad, they found the Swedish Nazi Party. And Tor. Because then you would, sorry, scrambled dots. You would, like I was saying earlier, you would run the VPN, just turn it on, then your whole computer is connected to that network. And you open the virtual machine, which is just another computer inside your computer. Inside that virtual machine, you open Tor. And then you connect to the internet, browse, and do all you need to do. Ideally, you would not be on your home network because your home IP address is associated with you. It's mostly how you're tracked. It's primarily your IP address is like your home address for your.
What if it's like a shared, like I know with roommates? So.
Yeah, everyone's IP address at that place is the same. And so, ideally, if you're trying to maximize privacy, it wouldn't be on your home network. Actually, if you're trying to maximize privacy, you wouldn't even be connected to the internet. Because that is the most secure thing, is something that's not even on. Most secure electronic device is one that's not on and has no battery in it. The second most is one that you can unplug and it just turns off.
With like smashing the laptop afterwards.
Depends.
Depends how well you smash it.
Yeah.
Yeah, depends where and how well, and even then data can be recovered.
You gotta melt your hard drive.
You gotta degauss it. It's got a physical hard drive. I know I'm forgetting other things that I want to touch on.
So I'm gonna make this the last question because we gotta break down and be out of here by 7:30.
Oh, good.
Where is somewhere we can find kind of more resources for getting started? Like what
Yes.
recommendations do you have for that?
It's privacyguides.org or privacyguides.com, I'm pretty sure one of those two. Pretty sure it's not listed in here. It was originally in here and I wanted to include it. That's one of the things I forgot. But yeah, we can. Oh, right. De-Googling. De-Googling is a royal pain in the ass. It mostly applies to mobile phones. It also just reverses the process generally of removing Google services from your life. Part of that is removing it from your phone if you got an Android one especially. Apple ones don't feel like you're special. You're also being tracked. It's just Android does give you more tools to gut Google basically out of your phone. It just kind of renders it inoperable if you don't do it correctly, and requires installing an entirely new operating system. Is not a process I would recommend anyone do willy-nilly, just because if you do not follow the instructions to the letter, you will have a new fancy paperweight instead. And that would be the more secure device.
A rock.
Yeah, basically. You would have a small shrapnel rock. could explode. All right, we're good.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Robin.